Hi there, I'm Martha Van Dam, and this is Living Beyond. We're continuing to talk in our series about living beyond betrayal. If you have faced betrayal in your relationship, you know how painful it is. You also know what a task it is to heal beyond that and help your relationship grow into the best place it can be. So today's talk about emotional intimacy is something that you will want to be working on as your relationship gets healthier and healthier, heals and grows. But I also need to couch this with a caveat, and that is that you don't really want to start growing the emotional intimacy of your relationship if you've just found out about betrayal in your life. Because when you first found out, you really have so many emotions to work through. There's so much pain to process. There's so much to deal with that diving right into emotional intimacy would be too early. So be sure to maybe check with a counselor. Be sure that you don't put pressure on yourself today to try throwing the things in that we're going to talk about in this video if you're at the very beginning stages of discovering infidelity. So emotional intimacy, what is it? Emotional intimacy is at the core of every solid and strong relationship. And it almost always has to be healed and grown again in a couple that has experienced betrayal, because almost always at the time of betrayal, there's a lack of emotional intimacy going on. You may not have recognized it early on because very often couples are coming from their own relationships from their parents where emotional intimacy was not taught. And so you might not have even realized it was missing. But likely as you've come through this process, you've come to understand that. So emotional intimacy, when it is solid and it is real in a relationship, you can see it because both people are able to know themselves really well. They are able to share that with the other partner, and the other partner is able to hear it and create a safe space for the first partner to do the sharing. There is acceptance going on. There's lack of judgment. Sounds ideal, doesn't it? But here's the cool thing. It's a skill. It's not something we're born with or not born with. It's not like, well, too bad if you don't have it. It's okay. So if it's not existing or hasn't been existing in your relationship, it is a skill that can be learned. The beginning piece of growing emotional intimacy is learning to be able to tune into yourself and to know better and better what it is that you are thinking, not just on the surface, but at a deeper level, to understand this is what I'm thinking and feeling, and this is how I got here. Or I'm feeling fearful and upset. Let's dig in and see what that's about, because these lower, deeper things are the things that we're going to end up sharing with our partner once we're sure that it is safe to do so. But these are the things that we're going to share, and the goal is for those sharing of those things to bring us to a place where we know our partner better and he knows us better. And then there's more connection that's going on because we really know each other better and better. Keeping in mind, point number one is you must know yourself. How can you share yourself with someone if you don't even know? You would be amazed at the number of people, and you may feel this way. When I say to women in my office, what makes you happy? What do you absolutely love? What are things that you love to do? What fires you up? And you will be amazed at the number of women who say, I don't know. Well, I'm happy if my family's happy. If my kids are happy, if my husband's happy, I'm happy. But you'd be amazed. And an awful lot of that reason is because women have been socialized to be giving and be nurturing, but we haven't really been socialized as well to take care of ourselves in the same way as we take care of other people. And as children come along and spouses and more responsibilities come along, very often just with time, it seems like there's less and less time to know ourselves and take care of ourselves. So over time, that just gets shoved to the side. So it is extremely important at the beginning of emotional intimacy, of growing that you, spend time getting to know yourself. What do you love? What makes you happy? What fires you up? What are your fears? What would you be doing if you were afraid of nothing? What would you be doing with your life if money were not an issue? Asking yourself those really important questions and spending time allowing the you that's there to come out. And if you need a some support in that. A good friend may be able to be helpful. If not, a counselor can very often be exceedingly helpful with that for you. The next piece is also working within yourself, working with yourself so that you can learn to create an environment where your partner or your spouse is safe to come to you with their emotional deepness, so they can share intimately with you. And that means you have to develop and hone your skills of listening without breaking in, without throwing your opinion, listening and becoming more curious about the other person, creating a safe space for them to share. You also will certainly hope that your partner is creating that for you. And you'll know if you're able to continue on with this idea of growing emotional intimacy if you see that both people are working to make it safer and safer for the other person to share themselves. So our number one point is to know yourself better and better. Number two, work on yourself to the point that you can help create a safe space for your partner. Number three, ask him to do the same thing. You could come to a point where you realize your partner is not capable or willing to create that safe space for you. And if that happens, then you are in a space and you do have a difficulty and you do have some decisions to make, because it's quite possible that your partner is not able to do that. And if he's not able to do that, that will severely impact your ability to have an emotionally intimate relationship with that partner. And that is something, again, to talk with your counselor about, to talk with your pastor, priest, or rabbi about, talk with good friends who are supportive of family about. And so then you want to practice that. Once you've discovered that it is safe, little bit by little bit, you try it out. Little bit by little bit, you share yourself with your partner. And if it is safe to do so, you continue to go deeper and deeper with the things that you're sharing. One of my favorite ways to work on this particular skill is to get either a set of cards. There are so many companies that sell them, sets of cards that have questions for prompts for conversations. You can buy cards that have these lists of questions. You can go online and Google lists of questions for couples, lists of questions for marriage, lists of couples for families, questions to get to know each other better. One of my favorites is to Google 36 questions New York Times article, because a number of years ago there was an article in the New York Times that was something like 36 questions to help you fall in love, something like that. I don't remember, but it's this great list of questions, and you take turns asking and sharing the answers to those questions. I know that may sound a little contrived and a little awkward, but it is an absolutely fabulous way to start that conversation. And even if you've been married for years and years, you will discover that you very likely have fallen into a habit of talking about, has the electric bill been paid? When was the last time we got gas? Talking about the kids. We fall into a habit of talking about some things that you actually could talk with anybody about. And we slide away from the emotionally intimate topics. These questions can bring you back to that. Keeping in mind that if any of the questions are awkward or uncomfortable and you don't want to go there, all you've got to do, there's nobody going to come. The question police won't give you a grade or anything. So if there's a question you don't want to answer or you don't want to talk about, just skip that one and go to the next one. I really can't any more strongly suggest that you try some of these lists of questions as a start. So, emotional intimacy 101. You must know yourself. You must be willing to share yourself. You must create an environment where, as far as able to you, create an environment where you are able to make it as safe a space as possible to share. You want to become curious about the other person, helping them by asking questions. Explain it to me better. How did you come to that point? Those kinds of questions. And also being aware of if you are feeling safe to share with him or her. And if you are not, then you do want to address that. It may be just a hiccup. It may be just a little fix that needs to happen. It may be even that a couple of sessions with a counselor would fix that. But I am not suggesting that you jump in, open yourself up in an environment where it's not safe to do so. physically or emotionally. So, understanding that emotional intimacy is the foundation for a strong and healthy relationship. It's the foundation for a fun relationship. And we really, really want to focus on growing emotional intimacy. Physical intimacy grows out of good, healthy, solid emotional intimacy. And so that's a really big point. If you have more questions about that, I'd love it if you'd contact me and ask. And or contact your counselor, and as I said, your pastor, priest, or rabbi. And hope that this has been helpful to you. And let's move forward as we continue to heal and continue to grow those relationships and ourselves. Thanks so much, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye-bye.